Welcome, new parents, to Whittier Warriors Youth Running Program. I wanted to give you a little intro, a little orientation to our program, to the team, so that it basically will cover what happens in the first week. So hopefully answer many of your questions. If you don't, always feel free to reach out. We'll go over how to communicate with the coaching staff. Hopefully this takes about 20 minutes. I tend to go over quite often, but I will try to keep it within that range to get you a lot of information that'll answer your questions and make things easier for you and for the kids going through our first week. There will be a larger general parent meeting that'll cover a lot more things in much greater detail. But I wanted to at least give you this. So this video is being sent out if you're watching it. So good morning if it's morning when you're watching this, or good evening whenever you have a chance to watch this. But hopefully you can get through this. Let me share my screen and we'll get started right away. So with that, all right. So again, this is the parent meeting. It's really just for our new parents. Of course, anybody's welcome to watch this. Agenda. We will not cover all this in this level of detail, but I wanted to show you an idea of the items we will be covering in the general parent meeting. That'll last about an hour. This one will not. But again, just to give an idea of the type of topics, including training and how we get into that. We won't get into a lot of the training stuff here, but we will in the future. Coaching staff, this is Coach Rojas. I am the head coach of this program. We have a number of assistant coaches that have been with us, some which coached with me back in the high school time, where I spent time at Cal High coaching, and previously to that at Troy High School. We also have people that are parents on the team that have joined our coaching staff. And we actually have ex-athletes of mine that I used to coach at the high school level and now have joined us as full-fledged assistant coaches. We also have volunteer coaches that help us out. And these are coaches that are not necessarily all full-time, a little less requirements on them in terms of training for themselves, but they're a huge help to our program. And we're probably going to add another one or two coaches this season as our growth of the team continues. We're at, I believe right now, 88 runners and growing. USATF membership, I'll start with this. It's kind of a boring item, but it's super important, parents. So please, this is something we need to get done right away. Every year we struggle with some parents getting this done. It is separate from the registration for the team. It is we are part of a larger organization. The USATF is the United States Track and Field Association. They cover all track and field athletes, including the Olympians. So if you watch the Olympics, they're members of USATF. They're required to do so. Same thing here. Two benefits to being a member, at least directly related to the team, is one, you can compete at the USATF events, which right now with COVID, we don't know what's happening with that. But nationals, regionals more likely will happen, and they'll have a chance to compete in those. They won't if they're not registered. More importantly to that is protecting our team, our family, and our nonprofit organization that we're starting. Liability insurance is covered through USATF for the team. So if your child is not a member of USATF, they are not covered by liability insurance, and therefore they cannot come to practice. So please make sure you take care of that. First practice, we'll kind of let that go a little bit, but after that, we'll be looking at rosters, double checking lists, and if kids are not registered, they will be sent home. We just can't afford to have everything happen to them. Age verification happens there too, in terms of what age bracket they compete in. So that's done. But again, we'll cover this in more detail later. The main thing is just to get them registered. And so look for the Sunday email. Sunday email is really big. I'll keep repeating that. Make sure you're getting them. If you're reading them, it'll explain exactly what you need to do to register the kids. I think it's about $20 a year, not a season. So that covers the entire year. So 2 of our seasons. And make sure you register them to our team so that we see them on our roster. Okay. But again, you'll read the details there. Uniforms, gear, clothing in general. First thing is running shoes. They need to have running shoes, right? It doesn't have to be super expensive, $100 running shoes. But if you can't afford them, go to Snell Space in Brea. They'll literally walk you through, or walk the kids through how they walk, how they pronate, which is how the foot turns. They'll select the best shoe. There's different brands, but even within the brands, there's different types of shoes, support shoes, neutral shoes. They'll make sure that the kids have the right one for them so they avoid injury and are as comfortable as possible running. If not, and this is for new parents, right? So your kids may be new to running altogether. Just go to Big Five for now. Buy them a running shoe. Make sure it's a trainer running shoe, not a track shoe, not a spike shoe, not a racing shoe, but just a trainer, but for running. And $39.99 type of stuff. It's a good place to start for now. See if they like it, get more into it. Then you might want to go to something like Snail Space. What else? Racing, spikes, flats. If they're new to running, don't worry about that. If the kids have experience with running, as we progress into different groups, we'll talk to them more and we'll talk to you more about that. Uniforms, big is another big item, right? That is very timely. At first practice, which is the Wednesday, January 20th, at second practice, which is that Friday, and then at Saturday, which is the first time trial, that will be your opportunity to make sure your kids fit into the right size uniform. We'll have different ones that you can look at. With COVID, they can't put them on, but we can just hold them up. Make sure that you get the right size. Make sure you let us know, right? So there'll be a table. We'll be taking orders. We'll show you how that's done. Again, follow us on the email, because I shouldn't say that. We won't be taking orders at the table. We'll be measuring the size of the table. The orders will be done through a Google form. So we'll make sure you know where that is. Fill that out, order your gear. I'll explain the gear right now in a second. The uniform's already paid for. You don't have to pay anything extra. It's already included in the price. But we do need the size. If we don't get the size from you in those three opportunities in that first week, we cannot hold off the order, because it affects everybody else from getting their uniform in time for the subsequent races. So we will guesstimate the best size. That is non-refundable. We can't exchange those. So really, if it's not the right size, you can order another one, but you will have to pay for it. So again, please make sure you help us with getting that size in right away. Spirit gear, sweatshirts, t-shirts, lanyards, magnets, all that stuff. We'll have some sample stuff at the table there during those first 3 days. The Google form online will have the uniforms and all the stuff that you would like to purchase if you want to purchase things like sweatshirts and t-shirts. We love to see the kids wear it during practice. We love to see the parents wear it during races, and just kind of builds team spirit. So anything like that. And it is a little bit of a fundraiser for us, so it helps us out, but mostly it's to make sure we show team spirit. Some of this other stuff we'll go over at the general meeting, except for lights. It is going to be dark for the first month and a half or so at practice. So those little headlights, kind of headbands that you buy, at Big Five, I think you can find those as well, or the ones that will go around the chest. It just helps visibility, since we'll be running in the dark. In the park, there's lighting and stuff like that, but there is areas that are a little darker. It helps the kids have something on. For the first practice, don't worry too much about it. They won't be running that much, especially if they're new. And they'll be with larger group of kids and coaches and parents that have lights as well. But just something to consider as well. Communication, big one here, parents. Tons of information going out weekly and even daily sometimes, depending on changes. So the first thing is Facebook. There's a Facebook group page. I know some people don't like social media. I get that. Make a fake account. Don't put a picture on it. Make up a name. Protect yourself. If you just don't like that stuff, I don't blame you. But we do have a Facebook group page. It works best for us over the years. It is a closed group, only for members of the team, not for the general public. But we post a ton of information there. There's things that change throughout the week that we can't send out in the weekly emails. Things like, don't park at this parking lot, the race place has changed, whatever it may be, right? So just make sure you keep up with that. Join the Facebook page. Again, on the weekly email, it has all the information. It tells you how to join. I think I've seen a couple of people already join. So going to the weekly emails, and I'm going to hear me repeat this over and over again, make sure you're getting those emails. If you're not getting those, you will be completely lost with what's happening on the team. A combination of that in the Facebook group page. And the email that you registered your child with, that's what we're using to send that out to you. If that's wrong or something else you'd rather use, let us know. If you want to add an additional parent or an additional email, just reply back to those and say, hey, add this person, add my husband, my wife, whoever it is, and we'll get those added. In terms of talking to me, feel free to reach out anytime with any questions. There's no dumb questions. Texting works best. I will get back to you pretty quick on that, even if I'm meeting at work, things like that. Within an hour or so, you should hear a response. Calling, I can't always pick up, so I'll have to check, and then voicemails take me a little longer to get to, honestly. But if you text, we can set up a time, and then we can talk on the phone. Facebook Messenger, please do not use. I say this over and over again every season, and every season somebody sends me a message, and it takes me a week to reply. I don't use it. I don't look at it. Every once in a while, I stumble across it and go, oh, shoot, and I'll try to get back to somebody. So please don't use that, texting, phone call, email, all that works great. And I'll get back to you definitely within the day. Team talks after practice. Just know that after the kids are running, we're not done. We usually sit down in separate groups with their coaches and go over some items. It may be very, very short. It may be a little longer. Sometimes we get a little talkative, but that's still part of practice. Wednesdays, though, we do get together with a larger group. Obviously, these days, social distance, wearing masks, but we do a lot of fun things, including announcements, but also promotions, right? Or other recognitions of the kids' achievements. And we like to do it with a larger group, make sure everybody applauds, we sing happy birthday to kids. Things like that will happen during that time. So know that Wednesday practice will go a little longer because of that. Just bear with us and make sure the kids stay so they can be recognized and they can help cheer on their teammates and things like that. One-on-ones, if you ever need to have a one-on-one with me, just let me know. Again, reach out to me in every method possible except for Messenger, and we'll set up some time to talk. Social media, look on the Sunday email, we'll have information of whatever social media we're on for the team. Follow us, share stories, help us get the word out. All that's helpful for the team. Parent support for runners, we'll get into a lot more detail here at the general meeting, but in general, we've really emphasized hard work over natural talent. Don't get me wrong, some kids have amazing natural talent, but over the years of me coaching, which has been like, 13, 14 years now, hard work always wins. I've seen super talented kids kind of wasted along the way, especially at the high school level. I've seen super hardworking kids that were not considered fast kids, were not considered top talent on the team, end up becoming by their senior year extremely fast runners and very successful. And we see that at this age as well, right? So we really want to emphasize that with the kids, regardless of whether they have natural talent or not. And we'll get into a lot more of this detail, but there's a lot of things that you can do as a parent to help support your kids and be successful. We focus a lot on positivity, especially with the younger, newer kids, making sure that's really, because at the end of the day, if they don't like to run, they're not going to be successful, right? So we want to make sure they like it first, and then we push for the bigger success. Schedule, races, all that stuff. First of all, this is not our schedule, just to be really clear on that, so don't follow this here. I'll show you where our real schedule is. This is just an image from a previous one. But just to give you an idea, this will have all the stuff you need, all the information. It is on our website. There'll be a link to it from our weekly Sunday email. Again, we said it over 1,000 times. But on our website, it's always live. Whatever's there is valid. We'll update as we need to and change things as we need to. We'll add more information, and I'll show you in a little bit where that is on our website. So just know that's there, and that has fundraisers, races, gear order days, picture days, things like that, all the way through nationals. Nutrition, water. I can't say it enough, and you'll hear me say it 1,000 times. Kids should be drinking 8 tall glasses of water every day, not right before practice because they'll have to go to the restroom and their stomach's gonna hurt, right? But throughout the day, it should be an even kind of consumption of water. I don't know any kid that drinks enough water. They all can use some push on that. So as parents and coaches, we need to push them to drink more water. That doesn't mean juices and sodas and punches and things like that. It means water. Food, we'll get into more details this about like what to eat, what not to eat, what's good for runners, what's good before the night before a race, the morning of a race, and the general meeting. But for now, just make sure they're eating as healthy as possible, obviously. If your household already does that, great, you're ahead of the curve, right? If you guys struggle with that, like honestly, I still do. It's good to like start taking out little things like let's get rid of the candy during the week, let's get rid of desserts, let's get rid of the sodas. All that really does help them in general, well outside of running, right? No dieting, please, parents. We do get a lot of kids that their parents want them to get into the sport just to lose a little weight, to get into shape. That's great, right? But they shouldn't be on a restricted diet and try to run the workouts that we do. Trust me, they will build up to running a significant amount of miles. They'll burn plenty of calories. They don't need to diet. They just need to eat healthy, right? We'll get into iron levels and all that at the general. Practices, La Mirada Regional Park, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30 p.m. For Jaguar and Eagle group, which I'll explain what all that means. We also have a Saturday practice. It is not optional, it is mandatory as well, but it's a 4th practice on Saturday at 7:30 a.m. But let's get into the groups. This is probably one of the cornerstones of our program, is that we don't take every type of runner and every age and every experience level and group them into one group and expect them all to perform the same way. It doesn't work. It's not successful that way. We have 4 different groups. They're sort of loosely based on age, but they're really more based on what we like to call running age, right? Experience levels. So dog is for all new runners, right? Regardless of age. We have 13-year-olds and we have 6-year-olds in there. The 13-year-olds feel a little strange being there, but if they're new to running and new to athletics in general, we need to kind of show them this kind of, and really the focus, if you look on here, is about making running fun, period, right? It's not about training. It's not about competing. It's not about winning and going to nationals. Trust me, that will come, parents, but we need to get them to like running first. If not, none of that will ever come. So that's the focus there. We tend not to, like, we don't yell at them. We don't like, we don't do push-ups because they showed up late. We don't do any of that stuff. It's about having fun with it, enjoying the experience, learning what running is, really, making friends, things like that. And so our coaches that we have for this group are geared and have kind of that mentality to make sure practice goes in that way. When they progress from dog is when we begin to see them be able to handle more mileage, doing really well with their time trials, improving their times. We'll move into monkey, right? And now here we expect them to run 2 miles without stopping at least, and monkey tends to run 3 or 4 miles every practice. They're learning to compete now. But they're really, really focused on their own improvement, what we call personal records or PRs, right? PR is the focus, which means, hey, let's go get another PR, let's improve, let's run faster next time. And improving themselves and what it means to come show up to practice and how that helps you improve, right? Now, from there, they progress and they promoted into Jaguar. Jaguar really is where we begin to really focus on training, true training. It's not just showing up to practice. You're not only training, you're now out there trying to win, to compete. Many of these kids are the ones that make it out to regionals, which is a huge accomplishment. We expect these kids to run under a 7-minute mile. For the most part, that varies year to year. And it really is about a competitive mindset and beating others, winning, striving to do better. Then again, they progress from there when they can handle more mileage. They're a little, quicker into Eagle. From there, it really gets into advanced training. We're now doing other routines besides just kind of our basic warm up and cool down routines. They're doing more body weight stuff. They're doing more core exercises. The focus all year long really isn't about the individual races. That's kind of a pass through. They're looking for regionals and nationals and how they can accomplish and how they can get there and how well they can do even at the national level, right? So these kids in practice, you can see, begin to go a little longer as we progress through the groups. And the mentality is progresses too, right? From the coaching perspective, each coaches are trained differently. At the Eagle level, we will get upset if they're messing around, right? We will, say, hey, cut it out. Let's focus. We're not going to do that at top level or even at monkey level, right? It's going to vary depending on the circumstances. So it's a little different, not just in the training we do, but kind of the mentality, the focus from a mental kind of emotional perspective. All right, COVID-19, we have to cover this. This is a big thing, right? Obviously, as we know, it's a major impact to our communities. So we have policies in place. We want to give you an update on what those policies are so you can help us with that. So kids themselves, they wear masks before and after running. So during running, we don't require it. Absolutely, if you want the kids to wear the mask, they absolutely can. We're never going to stop that. But before, we're doing warm-ups and we're just hanging out, talking at the beginning before practice. Afterwards, the kids are hanging out. They should be wearing their mask. So we need your help with that because honestly, we can't chase every kid down and say, hey, where's your mask? Hey, it just becomes too difficult, especially because it's before and after practice, right? As you arrive, things like that. That's kind of, we need your help with that part of it. Parents, we need you to wear masks the whole time, right? If you're walking around, talking to other parents, things like that. Just wear your mask. This is just for everyone's comfort level. I know everybody's different in kind of their stance or what they feel about that, but at practice, we need everybody to kind of comply with that and help us with that. We will have temperature checks. We have, zero contact thermometers that we will use real quick with the kids to make sure nobody has a temperature. If they do, we'll double check again to make sure it was accurate. And if they do come back the second time, we will ask them to go back to you or call you your attention so we can speak with you about it. Hand sanitizer will be available. That's optional, right? But it's there. If anybody needs to use it, please do so. And of course, goes without saying, but if anyone's home, kids or parents, please stay home. Don't come to practice. It's just the best thing for everybody. And I know it's difficult with all these things, but it's the best thing for everyone right now. We've been super happy. There's been absolutely zero breakouts on the team. There has been families related to the team that got COVID. Obviously, everybody knows somebody now these days. But it's come from like a work situation or somebody outside of the team. It has never made it into the team. So we're very proud of that. We want to continue that this season as well. The rest of these slides we won't get into, but just to give you an idea, it's like training systems. And we're going to get into real training, like in building endurance or with threshold, VO2 max, stuff that I won't get into right now. how we separate our training plans and things like that. So I am going to exit this right now so I can show you what I meant earlier with our website, right? So this is our website, which I'm sure many of you found us on there, wareliteracing.com. That's a larger organization. Within that, we have our youth program right here, Warriors Youth Cross Country and Track, and our homepage here, which is probably going to look very familiar to all of you. This is probably where you found us. Click to the registration page, general information. If anybody's interested, please get that out to people. But what I really want to show you is success stories. If anybody wants to read those, kids that used to be on our program and how well they're doing outside of that, is the schedule. So it's right there. Again, it's here. You go down to schedule, click on that, you get this. We have an embedded document here that has a schedule. A lot of blanks because we don't know yet, right? Especially because of COVID. But we have a lot of things in the books already. So early registration just ended. First practice on the 20th. That first time trial is that first Saturday, right? Location to be determined yet. So we'll update this and put that in there as soon as we have a better idea of that. With the schools being shut down, it's been difficult to get a track, but we're working on that. Parent meeting, the general parent meeting that I mentioned is going to be on the 28th. That'll be on Zoom. That'll be a live meeting. So we'll get, at least I believe so. We're working through that. Second time trial, you can see we'll have a pattern of every 2 to 3 weeks having time trials or races. Once the races start opening up, we're hoping we take the kids. If they don't, we're looking at going out of state on overnighters for that. Setting up team time trials, maybe finding one other team that wants to join us. We'll figure it out. Fundraisers will be on here as well. So you can see that there's a couple already scheduled as well. So please use this on a regular basis to make sure you know what's coming there. All right, so again, this is our website. Hopefully you got all the information. I'll keep repeating Sunday email, I'll keep repeating gear order, the uniform orders, the first few days, make sure you come by, get the sizing information in, use that Google form. All this information will be there. USATF memberships. Again, all this will be in the Sunday email. So read through that, make sure you get all that stuff done. So we're in a good place. Again, reach out to me if you have any other questions. Thank you. Good morning, good evening, whatever time you actually end up watching this. Thank you for joining us and have a good day.